Good evening, all you Minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reels Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, and my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar.
How's it going, everybody? Today we are discussing The Last of Us, episode 1, with spoilers, and I guess Willow, season 1, with
The whole
spoilers,
season with spoilers.
I guess. So
Yeah.
that's what we're here to talk about. And before we go ahead and get started, though, I do want to say something really quick. Uh, we lost a comic book creator back in December, but his mom wanted to keep it off of social media, keep it make. It was really sweet. She said she didn't want to ruin anybody's holiday, so we just found out about Jason Pearson passing away just this past week. Now I know he's a very controversial figure because of some of the things that he said lately, but I really liked what he said when Tim Cell passed away. Uh, Instead of writing R.I.P., he wrote DIP, which is drawing power. So I thought that was a really good thing to say, and I feel that way about Jason Pearson. To me, I had a few interactions with him over the last couple of decades because I've been following his artwork since Uncanny X-Men Annual 17, but it just sucks, man, losing somebody like that. He was a talented guy. With everybody that knew him said he had a lot of demons, and yeah. So hope people remember his art and remember him that way.
Yeah.
So tonight, Last of Us. This is it's one of those things that you walk into with, at least I do, with a lot of like I anytime there's a video game adaptation in movie or TV show, you can't roll your eyes the back of your head far enough because it's just we've been burnt so many times. We've been burnt so many times with these things. Especially if we enjoy the video game. And I know, Silent Hill has its own following. I know that the Resident Evil, some of the movies have its own following. And for something like this, though, that this game moved me, man. I was in tears playing this game just because I'm damn it. We are going to spoil it. It is following the video game. So if you've not played the video game, it is following that pattern of where the story is going.
Yes.
With a few little liberties and expanded on some things, which I actually like.
It's almost near shot for shot, like, of the events that take place, at least in the first episode, it does.
Yeah, it was really well done. I am drinking Sig Lucia right now out of my Berserk Guts glass that my buddy Tina got me.
Nice.
So I had to break that in. I had to snatch it from my wife who was trying to drink water out of it. And I'm like, that's guts. You don't drink water out of a guts glass.
You drink Pilsner out of a guts glass.
Easy. Beer.
I
drink beer. But Pilsner doesn't sound manly enough for guts.
Oh, not like a big old heavy. Yeah.
It's not like a stout,
I'm drinking House of the Dragon Cabernet Sauvignon tonight.
Wow, look at you, fancy pants. Love the story, but hated the gameplay. My wife would agree with you. I, on the other hand, loved it, man. That is like one of the very few games I've ever platinumed, I believe is what the kids call it these days, where you just do everything 100% and then some, because I did like the side stories, played it on the hardest level. Oh, I love the game. So this one was pretty special to me. I was like, okay, let's check out the adaptation. It was getting all kinds of, like, people were sharing like, hey, this is a really good series. Are you guys going to review it? And I was like, yeah, probably. We'll probably end up reviewing it. We review a lot of things, and it was getting a lot of praise early on.
Exactly.
So here are our thoughts.
Out right now too. So, and someone had asked, I think it was Shonda Sook asked how many episodes. It's going to be 9 episodes total.
Dude, what's up, Shonda Sook? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, we haven't seen you in a minute, but yeah, 9 episodes total. So we're already at number 1. So we're down 1 out of 9. And I've never played the game myself, but I watched my husband play it. So I was familiar with the gameplay, familiar with the storyline. I spoiled the second video game for Omar.
We ain't got to talk about that. Oh.
Yes, but right now it's, this. So this is an interesting adaptation because we weren't really sure what to expect from it. HBO, obviously. and Sony, of course, has a hand in it, of course, and the creator, the writer for the video game, Neil Druckmann, he's actually involved in the writing of this, and he also wrote the Uncharted. And I want to ask if he had any part in writing that movie, because, well, that is not an example of a good comic book or a video game adaptation, and that would be the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. But it even has Craig Mazin, who was one of the creators of Chernobyl, which is also on HBO Max as well, and stars a lot of great people. We have our Game of Thrones reunion with Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Gabriel Luna, who actually was Ghost Rider in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that neither Omar and I
didn't make it that far.
Didn't make it that far. Yeah. And then actually the original voice actress for Marlene in the video game,
that was cool.
Also playing Marlene in the TV series as well, which is really cool to see.
And she had to audition for both roles. She had to audition for the video game role.
Yeah,
and she auditioned for the TV show role, and I think that's really cool. Because I've said it before, just because you're a good actor does not mean you are a good voice actor, and vice versa. Looking at you, Sebastian Winter Soldier, who's not that good at voice acting, whereas like somebody else that could sound like him, does a better job. Just saying, just my 2 cents.
Just your 2 cents.
That's it. That's all I got is 2 cents.
Yes. So for those of you who are not familiar with what the how the show starts, it starts just like the video game starts. In the past, actually it starts in 1968. So it has
that was definitely an expansion of the video game. The video game starts, and we can talk about the similarities too. I don't mind, because I love the game. And one more thing I wanted to say is that I avoid these things because I always think there's nothing wrong with the original source material. Why can't people just go play a video game? Or why can't people go and read manga? Why can't people go and watch an anime? So I think that's why sometimes I go into these things going, ugh, I don't know about this. But this one proved me wrong. This was really good. It will definitely spoil the biggest shocker of the video game. I mean, within the first episode.
Yeah.
It's a big shocker, man, which we will talk about. And again, spoilers in case you haven't seen it. We would hate to ruin this for anybody.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Amanda.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so instead of starting as the video game does, it actually starts in 1968 with some scientists on a talk show talking about fungus and how it can take over a fungi can take over an ant's brain and control it. And the doctor or the scientist who's talking is actually John Hannah, the actor who played Rachel Weisz's brother in the Mummy series, which I was like, I remember that guy. And
he looked just like him.
Exactly.
A little older, but that's okay.
Older, but it, obviously it's setting up the pretense for the story where he talks about how fungi can evolve and maybe it could take over humans. And then we get to not present day, 2003. And I remember we were, talking about this when we were watching it together. I think your brother was asking, wait, why is it not set in 2023? But that's where all the events of the actual game play take place will be in 2023. So that's interesting. So it takes place in 2003. Joel is a construction worker, I believe, him and his brother, Tommy, played by Gabriel Luna. And he has his daughter, Sarah, who is played by Nico Parker. And the only thing I remember her from is the Dumbo remake. Also something that we didn't need. But not like this, but that was like
Operation Dumbo?
No, just Dumbo, the remake.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Operation Dumbo with Danny Glover. Thank you so much, Colt Dog. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Colt Dog.
So yeah, this we fast forward to 20 years ago, right? So 2003. Cell phones weren't these things yet. That's an iPhone, by the way. And she's getting the watch. And like I said, it's expanding on the story, right? You have to add drama, you have to add things like this, because video games, somebody brought up a really good point, and I understand this, but video games and TV shows and movies are a different medium. So in the video game, they jump you right, you are thrown into the middle of it. Like, I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of a slow start. You get to know Joel and his daughter, and then, yeah, all hell breaks loose. Whereas this kind of precedes it with, and you know how I feel about these things, an explanation as to what exactly is going to happen with the fungus, you know, attacking your brain, letting you live and stuff like that. I'm not a fan when people, when movies and TV shows, especially horror movies, explain too much. And then we jump a little bit into 2003, and we get to know Joel and his daughter, their connection, and how much she loves her dad, going to get a watch. Now watch becomes special because, I mean, that's also from the game.
Yeah.
And we get to see his relationship with his brother, and we expand on the neighbors, right? Which, of course, adds the creepy factor later on when she doesn't realize there's a creepy old woman about to eat her ass later on.
Right time. Yeah, they do a good job of expanding on it, and I think that helps, you know, because I've seen a lot of people say, well, I think that, well, what happens next had more of an impact on screen in the TV show than it did in the game, and I think that is in part because we are expanding on their relationship in this beginning section of the narrative, and also we get to see more of her as an actual character.
Right. You're not the first person well, not that it was a first person perspective, but you're not playing the role of Joel, right? You get to see these characters, so you have to build a relationship between them in order for that to hit harder. In the video game, it's your daughter. You're protecting her no matter what. I mean, you do the same thing with baby Mario in Yoshi's Island. That is the weirdest comparison.
Yeah, what a
that's all I had. But I'm saying in video games, you're always tasked, here, go and watch after this kid. They're completely helpless. You have a gun, or you have a tongue like Yoshi. That's all I got. Go ahead, Amanda.
No. So, of course, then the inevitable happens as Sarah's going throughout her day, because it centers as her as the main character going to get the watch fixed. And as she's going about her day, little things start happening that make us as the audience realize around us something's wrong. For instance, the watch shop owner and his wife, we need to shut down right now. And you hear the sirens going on in the background. You start seeing, you know, military airplanes and things flying over. And then when she's in her neighbor's house for a little bit, obviously that's when we first see the old lady, I guess the mother of the neighbors, who is senile and doesn't speak. She becomes infected with the fungi, but of course they don't know that yet. And then she's waiting at home for him. And of course, you know, he has to go back out to help Tommy, who ends up getting put in jail because he just got into some bad stuff. As he leaves, it's already nightfall. More bad things are happening. And then she sees her neighbor's dog come to her house. So she goes check on the neighbors. And that's when she realizes that the old lady's eating her neighbors. And it's all a big deal. And from that point forward, her dad comes rushing home with Tommy. And then it becomes what I think is like the best shot like of how a video game is. I felt like I was in the action during this narrative, because it was very much like you were sitting in the car driving with them as they were trying to escape the city. And
dude, that was amazing. I loved it. Like to me, that felt like, I love the game. I love it. They're not remastering it. They're remaking it.
Yes.
But on the PlayStation 4, the remaster, my goodness, it's beautiful. But this felt like, holy crap, they spent some money. The airplane coming down, crashing behind them, and the pieces just flying. And you know, you taking that. It felt like I love this. Children of Men. Remember that long driving scene in Children of Men?
They get shot, right? Yeah,
awesome.
That's a beautiful scene. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, J-Man? I've never played this game and haven't seen the episode yet, so I have no reason to comment. Hello. So that was just a long-winded hello.
Well,
what's up,
hello.
man? Go and watch it, man. Unless you play games, then go and play it and then watch it. Completely
you
worth
should
it.
do both, just because it is a fantastic piece of work.
And what's funny is before we saw that, right? Like before we saw how much money they're spending, I know. I was like, oh man, HBO's upping their prices. They just became the most expensive, streaming service, at least here in America.
Yes, they are.
And I'm like, oh, maybe that's why. Because
that and the dragons.
Okay, well, the dragons ain't gonna be seen for another year, so
yeah, but they still got to pay to make the dragons. So that and the dragons.
True.
That's why it's too expensive. So yeah, so of course, if you're familiar with the story, it kind of unfolds where they end up getting in a accident and they're trying to escape, and a soldier finds Joel and Sarah. He's holding Sarah. She's a little bit injured. She can't walk. She broke her ankle. The soldier gets orders just to shoot. And of course, Joel tries to turn to protect her. He gets kind of sideswiped, not realizing she gets hit out head on. But luckily, Tommy shows up and kills the soldier. But it's too late. And we get this scene that really, I'm like, wow. I don't think I've ever seen a child like die like that. Maybe like, I know she's not like a child, she's a teenager, but like just the way
that was rough, man.
He had to bleed out, and he's just like, and the way he say like, no, baby, no, like there's what else do you say? And
dude,
I know it hurts, like, and oh god, it gives me chills thinking about it.
The camera panning between him and his brother, he's asking Tommy, and Tommy's like, Tommy knows that child is dead.
Yeah,
and Joel, like, oh my god, yeah, that was again, the video game really hit me, and that was the first 5 minutes of the video game, right? Like it's quick how fast they really built up to this, because I really thought, oh my gosh, are they going to make the first episode, where she dies, and that's the ending of the first episode? But no, we got a lot more. That was about 30 minutes probably into it,
because it was an hour and a half, right? It was a little bit longer than I imagine the rest of the season will be, but yeah. So obviously, that's where our flashback, or the start of the show kind of ends right there after Sarah passes away. And then we hit 20 years later. So now it's 2023, our present day. And we have Fedra set up these quarantine zones, and you have the Fireflies, which is some type of a rebellion, because basically everyone's living in these military states, right? Because that's, seems like the natural thing that would happen after some catastrophe like this would occur. Joel is working within the confines of this quarantine zone, kind of doing, odd jobs here and there to get money. And at the same time, he's also doing underhanded deals for some of the Fedra agents, getting them like oxycodone, oxy pills, and things like that. Any contraband that they can't normally get. Working with Tess, his partner in crime, maybe pseudo girlfriend, I'm assuming.
They sleep with each other, not.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's the end of the world.
Nightmares. He likes the companionship.
Yes, yeah. And we learn a lot about this community, right? Obviously, if you step right outside of the line at any time, it's, you're tried by a military court justice, you're hanged for any offenses. It's pretty much your sentence is death. So don't step out of line is pretty much the name of the game. But we have this rebellion who wants this freedom and wants to establish democracy in these quarantine zones again and get away from these military state. And Marlene is our leader of these Fireflies, and they are holding a young girl hostage, which is Bella Ramsey's Ellie. And at first, you don't really know why until you realize that she's clearly been attacked or bitten by one of these fungus infested, people, creatures. And it's been weeks and she hasn't turned, nothing's happened, and they've been monitoring her.
Dude, and they don't shy away. I remember when watching The Walking Dead, everybody the next day was talking about, did you see Walking Dead, man? I can't believe they killed a kid on screen. Dude, in this, 2 kids are dying. Like at the beginning, you have his daughter dying. And then in the beginning of this new world, we have a child come into the city that has been infected, and she tests positive. You don't see her get killed, but you do see Joel pick up her body and just throw her in the fire. Because the other lady was like, I can't do this. Holy crap. Yes, post-apocalyptic friend with benefits, not a zombie. Exactly.
Yeah.
So much like the video game, this is exactly how it happened. You had Ellie come in, who goes as Veronica at first, and for some reason she is immune, even though she's been exposed to it, because she has the markings of exposure. One really cool thing that you don't see in the video game is the the fungus coming out of their mouths. Like you can't because of the video game, right? You're shooting things and you don't get that kind of detail. But with the different camera angles here, you can kind of see the close up of how fast these things spread too. Holy crap! Yeah,
I mean, some of the special effects. I think I have a picture of like when they're going underground in the subway system to find their car battery that was, taken from them in a trade that was not supposed to be, that they were supposed to receive, and they see this like creature thing. Like,
that had completely used that body.
That because
creepy as hell.
Yeah, he locked himself in that room and he just died. Great special effects there.
Time out for a second, Amanda. Somebody, Kel and J-Man brought up some really good things. Okay, first time I saw a kid die in a movie was Assault on Precinct 13, John Carpenter. That was shocking, actually. For me, it was the Blob remake in 1988, Frank Darabont. I had never seen a kid, and he didn't get, peacefully die in his sleep. He got melted by the Blob, because the Blob remake is freaking amazing. Y'all haven't seen it. That was the first time I remember seeing a kid going, holy crap, nobody's safe in this movie. And Kel is right. There was a weird law, and it's a really weird law, that had become a law against showing kids dying on screen at some point.
Yeah.
And it's what is it? It's a weird law where an adult cannot be shown killing a child on screen. A child can kill another child on screen, but an adult cannot. So the only time I remember somebody getting in trouble in recent times was in the episode of Jennifer, Masters of Horror.
Yeah.
Where you see Jennifer eating the kid, and Showtime? Yeah, it was on Showtime. Got in all kinds of trouble for that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a rule or law. I don't know if it's I'm assuming it's some kind of deal.
And that makes sense, because that little girl that in the beginning of this flash forward to 2023, when they're talking to her and you don't see her die, you don't even see them inject any. They just tell her, we're going to get you candy and you're going to be okay. And the next time we see her, she's already.
Yeah, and even in The Walking Dead, the loophole was, they didn't shoot a kid; it was a zombie.
It was it was a zombie girl. That's why. Yeah, that's why.
I'm sure that's going to come into play in this show too. Well, it wasn't a kid; she had a fungus brain, so that's why they.
If she looked like that thing, I think at this point it's not a child anymore. That's just a fungus creature.
Correct.
So there we go. So obviously there's a couple of things going on. Joel's brother Tommy obviously has fallen in with the Fireflies, and he's gone out on some type of a mission, hasn't come back yet, and they haven't gotten any news. So he's wants to get this car battery so that they can go look for Tommy, pretty much. But of course, they're kind of backstabbed so that the guy can sell that same battery to the Fireflies, because they need to leave the city with Ellie and get her somewhere safe. And we find out her backstory. She was an orphan that was, as a baby put into a Fedra military camp where she grew up and was trained by them. And you can kind of tell she's a little rough around the edges, has a little bit of this, she doesn't hold back. She's, swearing, loves her little knife. And even in this one scene where she's behind Joel and he goes and attacks the soldier, when he has a flash of seeing the similar thing that happened to his daughter maybe happening to Ellie, where she might get shot. He lunges at this guy, and the look on her face is ooh, she almost she enjoys it a little bit. So she's a different, or she likes someone protecting her. It's a different version of his daughter, who's very innocent, her, Sarah. So it's really interesting to see the comparison of the two girls. So you have that one. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I like that. I like because it was the same thing in the game, right? You have this sweet, innocent daughter, and then you have the exact opposite with Ellie, where she's just cursing and not very likable at first, because you're like, damn, kid, calm the hell down for a second. I'm trying to help. So because if you play the game, you know where this is going to go. So you're going to fall in love with these characters.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool, because that's the same way the game was. So the guy, we watched the behind the scenes. We watched it together.
Yes.
He gets it. He gets the video game. So it's really cool. Mm-hmm. And was it you that was telling me that Pedro Pascal actually tried to play Last of Us, but he sucked so bad?
Yes.
He couldn't get through it.
I mean, kudos for him for trying. I am also not very good at those types of video games, and I lose interest fast if I can't get the combos down. So, yes,
absolutely. And the Wii's, God rest her soul, but my mom would have taken the belt of that kid. Not a very, that is the type of character that she was in the game. It's like, why am I risking my life for this brat? And then, they open up and you have these moments that are so beautiful in the game. And I can't wait to see how they're played out in the TV show.
Yes.
So absolutely. I thought, and every once in a while, I cannot remember the young actor's name that is playing Ellie.
Oh, Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, they played Lady Mormont.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, their accent would like slip in, like that UK accent, that British accent. But for the most part, yeah. I mean, they phenomenal job.
Yes,
great job as Ellie.
Yeah, they did a really good job so far. And we learned little tidbits in the episode. When Ellie is, after Joel takes Ellie into his, promises Marlene he's going to take her there, just drop her off, and then he's going to get all of his supplies so he can go find Tommy. It's all he needs to do. That's his mission right now. Because he kind of came in when Robert, I think the gentleman's name is, the one who backstabbed them with the car battery. Well, then he goes and double crosses the Fireflies. So I hope he does do some rummaging, and that'd be amazing.
I love Joel in the video game. I loved him.
I love him in this show.
Interesting where it goes with the next story arc. But let's focus on this one. We don't want to spoil everything.
Yeah, so we learned some little cool tidbits like the radio. So she's asking him about the radio, and they're playing different songs, and different decades mean different things, right? Mm-hmm. And she asked, like, what do the 80s mean? Because there's a big X there, and she realizes that 80s means like, shit's hit the fan. It's not good. Like, you can't do this. And because she said while he was sleeping, Wake Me Up Before You Go was playing, which is an 80s song, obviously Wham. So obviously, something's wrong with Bill and Frank, these two people that we don't really know who they are, but we are going to quickly learn about them, I'm assuming, in the next episode or two, about who Bill and Frank are, these people who've been radioing between with them. So, of course, it's nightfall, and Tess and Joel go to take Ellie out of the quarantine zone. But I don't know if they forgot or if they remember they just really didn't have a choice. But, of course, the soldiers on high alert because of all the bombings that the Fireflies were doing around the quarantine zone. And the soldier who Joel sold some oxy to earlier, he catches them and he's like, we're going to do this by the book. We're going to do this by the book. And he uses his little device to check to see if they are infected, right? And while Joel and Tess aren't, as he gets to Ellie, she has to go and kind of interrupt him, and she stabs him in the leg. And of course, Joel and Tess are not expecting this. And this is where he is about to shoot her, and that's when Joel attacks him and kills him. And that's when they realize.
You think he's dead? They kind of left it open. I mean, he beat the hell out of him, but I thought maybe he's still alive.
I mean, I guess, would they send someone after them if they knew?
I mean, and honestly, does it even matter?
No, I don't think it does.
I guess no, it does matter if you're watching the show and not having to play the game. You don't know what kind of character Joe is. Like, is he somebody to snap and kill somebody?
Yeah.
Over protecting this young girl. Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't even think about that when we were watching it. I'm like, did he kill him? I think in my head I thought he did.
I don't know. I thought he did too. I thought he was dead. Yeah, but they do manage to escape, even though they did confront her about being infected. And she was like, look, it's like 3 weeks old, and you think no one survives past a day. So of course they realize now, okay, we have to get her out of here. And as they're taking her out, I love this, that it starts playing a Depeche Mode song, and thankfully closed captions told me what song it was and everything, so I could look it up. And it's an 80s song, and it's playing on their radio, and then it pans out over Boston, the city, as they're exiting the quarantine zone, and you see what I assume to be is going to be a ticker on top. And I had to tell these guys it was there. They were finding it, but I watched it a second time with my husband, and we caught it that there is a ticker on the roof. Goes,
I didn't see no ticker. I didn't see no ticker.
It's a fungi creature. It's something. Either way, it's bad. Bad news bears. And Yeah, so obviously, then we get to see just a trailer of what we can expect this season. So we got to see a little bit of Stormy Reed's character, which I think is Ellie's former flame, and I don't know if she's alive or these are going to be flashbacks. We still see Nick Offerman, who does play the Bill half of Bill and Frank. We got to see a little bit of him in that trailer, and yeah, I mean,
wait a minute.
Wait, what?
So you all didn't see the clickers? I didn't see no clicker. Where's the clicker, man? Show me a picture of the clicker. Take a picture with your phone next time.
I have to play it.
She's mad.
Here, you talk about your thoughts.
Look, she's cursing up. Why are you on mute, Amanda?
Because I was gonna play the episode and I was gonna get.
I was kidding. I believe you. What noise did the clicker make, Amanda? How did the clicker go, man? Show him how it's done. Show him how it's done.
What I thought he was like, what it looked like. It maybe wasn't a clicker. I don't know. It was some type of a fungus creature.
Wait, how'd it go again?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it happened.
They're called clickers for a reason.
Okay, well, it's not a clicker. It was just a fungus creature.
It was just big ass fungus.
Regardless. Omar, let's talk about your thoughts on the my
thoughts on episode 1. Holy crap, that's a lot of money to spend on this. The casting was on point. I like the expanded storyline because that would have been boring to play in the video game. Like, hey, let's go and fix Dad's watch at this little store. Like there would be no point to that, but they had to pad it out a little bit in order to build, what kind of character these are. So, yeah, I like the expansion on the story. I like the expansion on the special effects. Pedro Pascal is amazing. Holy crap. Like, I have enjoyed everything that man has done. There ain't been a damn show or movie he's been in that I have not enjoyed. Maybe, I'm sure they exist. I just haven't watched them.
He is the dad in the Every We Can Be Heroes. It's a spin-off movie from the Shark Boy and Lava Girl franchise.
Haven't seen it.
My daughter loves it. Yes, and he is the dad of the main character. And so there might be one movie you may not enjoy, Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
But my daughter loves it. We've watched it 18 times.
Marlene mentioned Riley. Yeah. God damn it. Mr. Vic. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, yeah.
You bastard.
Not like it.
Wonder Woman 1984. You're right. Well, there goes the Pedro Pascal curse.
We can't all have winners.
He had a winning streak in Mr. Vic. Dude, Mr. Vic is the dude that had the freaking wooden stick that would put it in your freaking bike tire and make you flip. That was you. You just did that to me. I was riding around like Pedro Pascal way, and damn. I enjoyed everything about this, man. I mean, the music was from the video game, and it added more to it. Like, I'm trying to think of the things that I didn't like about it, because that's normally where we shine when we talk about movies and TV
I know,
but right, because that's why we have a show. Was it really that bad? But
don't worry.
I mean, the casting. Even if I wasn't sold at first, they grew on me. Because at first I'm like, would that be Tess? Oh, in this kind of future, if he's 55 years old.
That's
that makes sense, actually. Way to go, Pedro. Looking good for 55.
Dang, yes, he is.
Yeah. So
I'm staring at him right now.
He's not really 55, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
but he's still an older gentleman, and he's still sexy as all get out. Anyways, but that's not why I like this. I mean, it's partly why I like it, but
I'm trying to think, man. I don't know. I don't know what I'll come back. But those are my thoughts right now. I've really liked everything so far. What about you? You've never played the game.
No,
so to you, this is completely different, right? Like this is
exactly.
You've seen people play it though.
And I have to admit, because I never played the game, I watched aspects of the game when Corey would play it, right? But I've never played through the entire game or experienced it. So in my mind, I'm thinking, here's another post-apocalyptic show, movie that we're going to get. And even if it's based off of a, video game, and let's face it, I just saw Uncharted not too long ago, and Assassin's Creed was a terrible adaptation. and that was a great game that I've also watched the playthrough of.
Prince of Persia, dude. I mean, Super Mario Brothers. My wife loves that movie. We reviewed that. Was it really that bad? We did
review Super Mario Brothers, the movie. I mean, and Resident Evils are good for what they are, right?
My brother loves them, but
but they're not the stellar.
Mortal Kombat, maybe. Mortal Kombat gets a pass. I saw it in high school.
No.
Dude, the original Mortal Kombat.
Talk about that. Didn't we review that too?
What?
Didn't we review the new Mortal Kombat?
No, we were going to, but it was so bad. I'm like, I can't do it. I don't even want to finish it.
But so coming into it, I had my reservations because, like I said, we've seen one post-apocalyptic. That's all I thought. I've seen them all, but I think it comes down to, how well it's done as far as the cinematography and the writing and the directing, and then of course the actors. And that's what I think sets this apart from so many other post-apocalyptic things that we've seen in recent years. Like, I could put this on par with like Children of Men as far as how well executed it is in my mind. The casting, everyone in every role seems perfectly suited for it. I've enjoyed so far in the first episode, everyone that we've seen. I love that I just love how they shot that first, that first 2003 stuff, right? I have different reservations also too. I have lots of reservations.
That'd be silly. What were you saying? You have what?
Nope. Now I lost my train of thought there. Yes. No, the first half, just the way they shoot it, where you feel like you're in the game. Like, so when I remember it brought me back to remember watching Uncharted, the movie. I don't know why you couldn't, but it's most recent.
You must really like that movie. We're gonna do it. Wasn't really that.
I remember they were trying to do certain scenes in Uncharted that wanted to make you feel like you were Nathan Drake, like if you were in the video game, and it wasn't as well done as this was. Like when they're driving around with them trying to escape, it just felt like it was just well done, executed well. I really enjoyed it. I loved the pacing of it. I felt like it was perfect. I didn't think the beginning was too slow with the introduction of Sarah and Joel and their world, because I think it helped build what was going to happen to Sarah and make it more impactful when it actually happened. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope, the creature, like you said, the creature effects with the fungi, that's interesting. I can't wait to see what more they can show us. They've only showed us glimpses so far. So now that they're in the wilderness, I'll be really interested to see what we're going to see as far as that's concerned, and if it holds up.
Somebody was saying earlier, let me see. If it maintains quality, the only downside to me would be if it doesn't do enough of its own thing. And that is a very difficult fine line to cross, right? Because if you already in your head think it's a perfect game, and if you add a backstory to something that you don't agree with or see in your head, and it happens to all of us, right? Because in our head, we build it up. Looking at you, Last Jedi, we built up where
Walking
Luke
Dead is a great example too.
Which one?
Think about Walking Dead. I mean, it's a comic book, right? But think of the storylines they changed in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, they expanded. If they go too far, it can completely ruin your experience. And not all of us, right? Some people will dig it no matter what.
Yeah,
so you almost have to be careful and walk that thin line. Because what I want them to do is kind of take a little liberty with like some of the designs of the fungus, because they can really have fun with like the fungus and what kind of creatures it's taken over.
Oh yeah,
not just human beings.
And
make like a, yeah, exactly, right. Like a
field day with it.
An amalgam of this like giant elephant with I don't know, with wings, or it would just be really cool to see, but things that they didn't do in the video game.
Get Doug Jones in there, throw him in there, make him do something crazy, put him in something.
With a little bit of the things to come that we saw, we did see. Well, I don't want to spoil it in case people haven't played the game. We saw another young lady that plays a big part in Ellie's past. I wonder how they'll do that, because to me, that was put somewhere perfectly in the game, which is the pretty much one of the additional content pieces. Was it the additional? No, the mall was. No, it was. Yeah. It's because to me, I love the way that the only place that fit in, it would have broken the momentum of the game. And it was a good decision to take that story out and leave it as an extra, at least in my head, because I thought, oh, that was a smart move, because I enjoyed playing it. I'm glad I got to know about this part of Ellie, but it really would have broken the momentum, because it's a part of the game where something changes between the two characters, and it's a little bit of a time jump, not a lot. And I wonder how they'll handle it in here, because we did see it in Things to Come. We see that young lady. So I wonder how they'll handle it within the story, and where that break will be, and how they'll play. So, I mean, honestly, the people putting this together really love the game. And
well, it helps that one of them is the creator-writer of the game, too.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking, Bad Wolf Comics. Like, how exactly will that be shown as a flashback? At what point, right? Without breaking the momentum of the story, without so we'll see. I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm glad people are, it's kind of like going to comic book movies, and people are like, oh, this was a comic book? That's cool.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, this is like this was a video game. That's cool.
Did not know it. Yeah. And if you never played the video game, or were familiar with the video game, you would just enjoy this as what it is. And
so as I'm sitting here right now, it's weird, but man, this is a 10 out of 10 show for me. Like, episode 1's 10 out of 10. And let me know, let us know what you all think. I'm sorry, I usually go ladies first, but
it's okay. You can go.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, man.
I would agree. 10 out of 10 as well. I really like this. It's going to be really hard this year for something to come along and beat this, unless it goes downhill.
Oh, we got Virgin River season 4. Firefly Lane season 3.2.
Oh, I am excited for that ending. I want to know if she's marrying him or what's happening. I'm very confused.
I threw out the 10s, Hobgoblin. I threw out the 10s, man. I love the game too. So the fact that they did this right and did justice with a lot of love and care makes it, 10 out of 10, man. It was good.
Exactly.
No. Now it could all go to crap, right? We've seen shows start phenomenal, even for the long run, and then when that final season hits, it's like, oh.
Well, I'm hoping HBO is smart about this, and the creators. This is, if anything, they've learned from properties like The Walking Dead. You can't take the story too long. We don't need 80 spinoffs. We just need to tell the story that we want to tell and get it done and be concise.
Oh, damn well, Amanda, if this is popular, they're gonna have The Last of Us 2013. We'll have another family dealing with the disaster.
I hope we don't.
What happens with everything that
unless they're gonna make another video game like that.
How many Walking Dead shows are there? Fear the Walking Dead.
Well, there's gonna be the Negan spinoff, and then Michonne and Rick are getting their own.
It's what you do, right? Movie. I mean, it's what any company does. It's you take what's hot and you got to do it while it's hot.
But unlike AMC, who's like apparently put all their eggs in the Walking Dead basket, because what else is coming out on the AMC? HBO can't.
They got Fear the Madman coming out later on.
Yeah, I mean, they did. Like, they used to have so many properties.
They did Saul, which was a spin-off of or prequel to.
But they used to have quite a lot of things, and now it's pretty much.
Yeah, they usually have classic movies on there. They used to have
a lot of content. Now they just have The Walking Dead and 8 of its spinoffs. But HBO doesn't, right? It has 8 Game of Thrones spinoffs. So it's just how it has to keep up with
got one. But you got to give it to Game of Thrones. You have to give it to HBO. They saw that pilot to the first Game of Thrones spinoff and said, nope, cancel project. I mean, they wasted money.
Or Naomi Watts.
I'd love to see that pilot. All right, let's see what we got. I
don't know why it was so bad.
Was it a 10 out of 10 for you?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. 10 out of 10 from both of us. All right, let's see here.
To Bad Wolf. Oh, 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Fungus out of fun, my man.
Fungus out?
Yeah, at any time, the loss was another one. But that was honestly, that was because the show. Yeah, exactly. The showrunners had no idea where it was going to go. That's why Brian K. Vaughan left the writing team. He was like, I am not made for TV writing. He was in a meeting where they were talking about the ending, and none of them knew how they were going to wrap it up. And he was like, well, my TV days are over. I'm going back to comics. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 15 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10 fun guys. Fun guys. Look at that.
That's right.
Can they do more than 2 seasons? I mean, if it does well, they can expand on it, but do we want them to?
Yeah, I don't know.
We actually like things to end, right? We like closure. Maybe.
If they made it a limited series, I'd be okay with that.
10, not 20. 10, not 20. That's okay, man. What's up, Chris Davidson? How are you doing, brother?
Chris?
Have you seen Raised by Wolves? That's a show I've been wanting to dig.
No, I have not seen that yet.
I haven't seen it either.
I know.
I've seen Succession, though. She could tell you all about that.
Hey, don't knock Succession. It is a great
it's on my watch list. 10 out of 10.
Watch Abbott Elementary. That's the creepiest picture of Woody I've ever seen, right? Holy crap. That is going to give me nightmares. What is that?
That's from Toy Story 3 when he was about to burn all the toys at the end and make them into one big piece of plastic.
That's so cool.
Raised by Wolves was canned. Oh, thanks. No, well, there goes that idea. Never seen it. Just here to support Reels Talk out of 10. My man, dude. Thank you so much.
84?
If they adapt part 2, I might actually watch it. That part 2 will be another shocker too. No expansions. It has it has to focus on factions and part 3.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog, right? Hello. Yeah. Never been in the comics because I never knew where to start. What are recommendations? The first title pops into your head without knowing the person you were talking to. Saga. I don't know why I went there. Maybe because I was just talking about Brian K. Vaughan. What about you, Amanda? You weren't in the comics before joining this channel.
I know. What would I suggest? First time off my head.
She's a mom gamer.
Yes, mom gamer. That's awesome. I was just rearranging these too. And what would I have picked? God, why would I have to put myself on the spot? I don't know because I've read so many and they're really good. But
what are some of your favorite ones without knowing the person? I just went with Saga.
Oh, anything Jason Aaron would be fine by me. If you want to start with any Jason Aaron properties, his Marvel stuff is amazing to me. I love. If you want to see the Thor, Jane Foster Thor storyline done right, then read Jason Aaron's run. Don't watch. You want to see Gore the God Butcher done right, then read Jason Aaron's run of Thor. Or even his Doctor Strange is really good too. And
hey, those for real, those are good suggestions.
I love Hickman's Fantastic Four. Those are some of the first comics that I read that weren't like required reading for old reader, new reader. So yeah, I would say read any of that.
I'm afraid Abby would be hated when she comes onto the show. Whoever's casted as Abby. You have to cast somebody like what's his face, Joffrey from Game of Thrones. 8 out of 10 for me.
Is he ever gonna work again?
I don't know. He was in Batman. Check out the Foundation and Invasion if you like sci-fi.
Foundation's on what's
TV?
It called? Apple TV Plus, right?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It is. I think
it's a TV show.
Yes, it is looks like a very expensive sci-fi TV show, but it's something that I've always want to check out. But I'm still trying to finish Mythic Quest season 3.
Wolves has one more season. That's the Woody Revoltech figure. Raised by Wolves was weird. Yeah, it's been canceled. Dang it. Spider-Man Descender, Ranma 1/2, All-Star Superman. Man, we want a little collection video or something. We'd love to see what your omnis you have.
Definitely not by the vein of Omar, but it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. We'll go film one day.
Yes.
Love all the recommendations. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Thank you. Anything about Brian K. Vaughan? I almost agree with that. But I don't even know if you like. I mean, you could be offended though when you open up like Saga and be like, "Oh, this has a lot of curse words. It's gratuitous. It's sexual." No, thank you. If you're a Jason Momoa fan, C is a phenomenal Apple TV show. I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen it either.
Yes, original Runaways.
Yes, that's right.
So that was our review of The Last of Us. This was that was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it.
Yes, we did.
So
on to our
what's on the next part of this?
Review?
Yeah, what are we doing? What's up?
Hello.
We're going back to Willow.
That.
We're going back to Willow. All right. In case you have not seen Willow Season 1.
And that was from the movie, so it's not a spoiler.
Right.
There will be spoilers. As we talk about Willow Season 1, it finished not too long ago, but had to really push Omar to read it to finish it. So
I had to be reminded it was a show.
Yes, on the daily. Thanks to all of our lovely fans out there who wanted us to review it. We are going to go ahead.
We were asked to review it, so I don't know if you want to hear my thoughts anyway. So yeah, Willow Season 1. We reviewed episode 1 and 2, correct? Is that right?
Yeah, episodes 1 and 2 we reviewed because they both came out first when it first came out before Christmas, I think, right?
It was before Christmas.
Yeah, shoot.
And the last episode aired, I think, a week or two ago. I can't remember.
A week or two ago.
But yes. I did watch them back to back. I hadn't watched the last 4 just because it was just pissing me off. I'll be honest. I was just like, I don't care. You take a property like Willow, how do you mess it up?
This is a good example.
Well, I mean, you can. We've come to this point in the franchises that we grew up with are now being reimagined or revisited, if you will. Some are done with love and respect, and others are just like cashing in on the IP. Hey, let's bring in some actors for nostalgia's sake, but here's a really quick crap story that we kind of put together.
Which they clearly intend for season 2 of, with the way this season ends as well.
Yeah, this definitely leaves it for another season for sure.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, so obviously, this series is called Willow, but Willow's really not the focal point of the show. He becomes more of a mentor figure for the kitchen maiden. We learned throughout the episodes is actually the fabled Alora Dannon from the original Willow, and it's Willow trying to help her come into her powers, and at the same time they're also trying to save her beau / the prince of Tir Asleen, Eric, and his sister Kit, her love interest, knight in shining armor Jade, is also on the road with them, as well as Kit's betrothed Graydon, played by Tony Revolori, which he's one of my favorite parts about this. One of the only good parts, him, and yeah, I like him as Graydon, but that's about the only thing that
that was one of my biggest issues. I like Borman. I thought he was cool.
Borman, yes, and Borman is a friend of Mad Mardigan's, and he was put in jail or prison by Sorsha because he came back without Mad Mardigan, and it's been many years. And she releases him so that he can go and find her son. So that's what the premise of the story is. And of course, throughout the episodes, they have to go on coming of age story type things. We learn the Bone Reavers aren't actually bad people. Jade is actually a Bone Reaver. I don't know if I'm spoiling everything for people, but
I do have Willow Season 1 reviews spoilers at the bottom.
I didn't ask for was that we didn't need to humanize every villain, but the Bone Reavers, I guess we had to humanize them. They're not bad people. General Kale was not a bad guy, I guess. I don't know.
The trolls?
And
oh my God. At the trolls part, I remember almost texting you going, I can't do it. Whenever they started joking, they have that Disney villain type of joke and treatment.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they be just a bunch of like savage people like they were?
You're talking about the Prisoner of Skrellin episode?
Yes, where the two trolls are having a civilized conversation with
very civilized
English accents. Like you almost have to serve them tea.
They almost remind me of characters I probably would have found in a Taika Waititi Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, maybe that part pissed me off. A little too much. Yes. And you go ahead with the recap, and then I'll talk about my thoughts.
So obviously, we have some issues within the group. We have Kit despises Alora because Alora's the reason her father's not around, and she eventually, comes to respect Alora and becomes her protector in some weird way, and that's like a story arc the two of them have to take. Willow kind of realizes that he's not really needed anymore. And we also find out Graydon has magical powers as well. And so he also trains to become a sorcerer.
And he might have killed his brother.
Christian Slater makes an appearance, which is about the only thing that I was like, wait a minute, what is he doing in this property? But since obviously
I'm okay with Christian. He wasn't, Christian Slater ain't been Christian Slater since like the late 90s.
That's true.
I think he was in The Office, which was so random.
Yeah.
An episode of The Office. But at one time in 1988, he would have been a hot commodity to put in a Willow. But instead, he decided to go with the Prince of Thieves, Robin Hood.
That is who he is, isn't he?
I think he just wore the exact same outfit.
Costume for Robin Hood. Where's Kevin Costner? It would have been so much better.
Oh, Kevin Costner's busy living his dream job on a ranch at Yellowstone,
living his best life.
Looking constipated. Somebody said somebody shared a meme that they watch Yellowstone and all the characters act like they're all constipated, and I was like, I can never watch that show the same way again because they're right. That's the way they do act. They all look like they constipated faces.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because
horses. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
he wasn't Mr. Robot. You're right, Kel. He wasn't Mr. Robot, which was a great series. I don't think I ever finished it.
I don't think I finished it either. So they eventually have to cross the Shattered Sea to get to the Immemorial City, which is where Eric is, and Eric gets conned by the crone to pretty much become her right-hand man because she needs someone to be the harbinger of the worm and this whole big prophecy that Elora Danan has to fulfill, and she's probably going to have to die. And Eric turns bad, but of course, no one can stay bad. So he becomes good again by the end. And we lose Graydon, unfortunately. They have to fight the crone. There's a really gross scene of Eric kissing the crone, but he thinks she's a really pretty princess, but she's not. And they're able to defeat the crone, but then Graydon, we think is dead, but he actually wakes up on the other side of that wall in the worm's dimension, and the worm or whoever appears as Elora and has helped me take over the world. And so they set up a season 2, and if I sound unenthusiastic about my recap, it's because I pretty much am a little unenthusiastic about the idea of a second season for this. And that's the TV series.
Has it been greenlit? Wow, this is like the shortest.
No, it has not.
Amazing Amanda. Amazing Amanda. Just curious, any word on the Batman sequel? Is it coming out? What's going on, Amanda?
No, as far as I know, it's been greenlit and they're starting to work on it, but they don't have like a release date or anything for it as of right now.
Okay. So Willow.
There's
a lot of things that I did not like about Willow. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the wardrobe. What the hell were they thinking? Like, I was watching this, and Melanie, my wife, walked into the room, and she's wondering what I'm watching, and I'm like, I'm watching Willow. And she's like, did he step into another dimension? I was like, no, these two ladies live out in the woods, and for some reason they're wearing jean overalls. And then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just that. Then that's what the actresses decided to wear. Then we see the return of a character from the movie, right? Yep. I can't remember what these guys are called, these people, the tiny people, with his daughter who's wearing like pajamas with like a t-shirt. Like, who was in charge of wardrobe? He looks like a character from the Santa Claus.
I don't know. Yeah, and even I think there was like when Eric's in Immemorial City, he has this like silk shirt, like see-through, like not silk, like see-through shirt on that I was like, comes off a runway. That's not medieval. And obviously we've seen fantasy do that type of stuff. Like
the brownies. I thought it was a hallucination too. And I'm like, okay, this is so weird. It took me out of the show, but not as much as the weird music choices. Like, you remember the villains they set up, the Crow's villains in the first episode? I'm like, okay, that could be cool because they are dark. They look creepy. But in episode 5, I think, or 6, they had like a Benny Hill chase scene with 90s music playing over it.
I know.
And I thought, what, dude, I was so confused as to what I was watching. I actually talked to Maddie about this because she liked aspects of it. But I was like, I don't know if like the same showrunner was working on the show or if it had the issue that Rings of Power did, where it was multiple showrunners, multiple writers writing episodes and not talking to each other. Because it definitely had like a different vibe than other parts. Because there were other parts of the show that I really enjoyed, that I thought the cinematography was good, that the fighting looked good enough for, this show. I was just really confused as to who direct and what choice was there to make.
One showrunner.
Like, I finally got used to the music at the end of the episode in the credits, but using it within the episode, that got into Lady Hawk territory, which they didn't set up from the beginning, which I guess they could have, and people would have been like, well, this is odd, but they never did it until about episode 5.
Yeah.
I just had a lot of issues with this show. I wanted to love it. I wanted to go back to that era of Willow, and somebody was talking about how boring Willow was. Well, yeah, I mean, really, it's a journey, right? It's Lord of the Rings. It's taking a bunch of characters on a journey to go and get a MacGuffin back to its people, and hey, turns out the MacGuffin is the savior of this world. I don't know. I just that there are capable hands that can write a good story and still respect what was in the past without having to
see it all the time.
To bring in the step. Unfortunately, we don't see it all the time. We see it a lot. We've seen it a lot lately. At least I can think of like Top Gun and Cobra Kai.
Yes, good
example. With Willow, it was like, hey, let's bring back as many actors as we can from the original movies, and that's good enough. Let's give them a couple things to say. Let's give them a couple things to do.
Let's make
I'm still having problems with the damn timeline, which doesn't make any sense. Like, those kids are way too young to be Mad Mardigan and what's her name's kids. Because they look like they're 18, 19 years old. And if we're to say that has only 20 years passed since Willow, because even...
Well, yeah, because Laura Dan was a baby, so she's only she has to be older than all of them because she's already a baby.
Holy crap.
Like,
Willow has aged badly because of everything that he's gone through, I guess. Because it hasn't been 20 years. I mean, why couldn't... Here's my issue. Why couldn't... I realize it's Disney, but why couldn't Elora Danning not be a woman in her 30s that could carry the show? Like, time after time, we see kids, we see, men in their 30s. But why? I mean, if we're trying to be progressive, why couldn't it be like a woman in her 30s? Because you hardly see that on fantasy shows like this, with the exception of Xena.
Not running the show. She's usually a mentor figure or a mother.
Right. Or thinking of like Xena and things like that.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you give us that? Like, I would have been okay with that. Age up the show a little bit. Doesn't have to be a bunch of kids. And I understand it's on Disney, but most of us that grew up on Disney are adults now that have kids of our own, and we're okay seeing a little bit of ourselves in these shows.
Because they're trying to get the teen demographic that watches fantasy on other shows and bring them into it. So my biggest issue, besides the music, and I didn't care. The wardrobe was weird, but it wasn't what really was a miss for me was the dialogue, because nothing hurts me more than when you're in a fantastical world and sometimes you're going to talk in a fantasy type of dialect and you expect like certain words and how they're phrased, certain phrases to come out. But it would be some of that. But then a lot of it, the biggest thing that really, because I just rewatched the episode, was in episode 7 when Eric's talking to the princess or the crone, and she says to him, she starts going on this tirade, and I had to look it up. She goes like, listen, Prince Chauncey McSleazoid, who the hell talks like that even in Gen Z? I don't even know. I'm not some palace dit gonna go all quivery because you've got your eyes in your direction, and I'm not a damsel in distress in your sicko fantasy. First of all, I don't think kids talk like that now. So whoever wrote it for like 90s kids, I think. But also, why would she talk like that? Why does she don't tell that she's not going to fall for his, like, even if he's not even doing that, which he keeps saying he's not doing that. But she talks like that. And then later on, he goes, yo, new girl, where you at? What is that? What is that? Okay, that's not how you talk. And like these guys, that's not like.
No. I understand that language changes over time.
But not when you're trying to read.
No cap, right? I get it. But by the way, that was complete sarcasm. I still don't know what the hell no cap means. Okay, but when you've established the language of this world already in the preceding movie, you can't just remake it to be like, hey, let's make it like the hip kids are talking. That was another issue I had, so I'm so glad you brought it up. The dialogue was atrocious. It
bothers me.
Even Willow at times. I was, and there was this moment when I'm like, who the hell is this show for? I had the same issue with Lock and Key, the TV show, because there was some adult language in here that I was like,
yeah.
What?
Oh yeah,
where did that even come from?
Where randomly, and I was like, where? Like, if it was gonna be consistent with the time and place, obviously, you know, in Game of Thrones, also a fantasy, and there's swearing, but it's a consistent, like, we're going for a certain thing, but it's not consistent here that this is what we're developing, right? It can't. So it doesn't make sense to me. That's what really frustrated me about the show. I don't need my characters to speak modern speak to enjoy it. I love Lord of the Rings, and none of them are saying, new girl, where you at? I mean, they're talking in Tolkienese. So
at least Rings of Power had that going.
Yeah, at least they kept it flourishy, maybe over.
I mean, it was a little over the top.
Yeah, maybe it was a little over the top, but we could go somewhere in the middle here. And I don't remember the original Willow, Mad Mardigan, and it was Val Kilmer even talking like that. So I don't, you know, when they use modern day terms, it just, yeah. And it was in and out, right? There were some scenes that were great, and we have to have all these empowered speeches all the time. And I'm like, I get it. I love myself a strong, progressive woman. I love all the, you know, I love all this diversity, inclusion, but we don't need to nail it home with long, powered off speeches and all this. We don't need all that. Show us, don't constantly tell us. That's all I want. And it's like no one knows how to do that anymore. They just know how to tell us through dialogue. Too much dialogue, and then dialogue doesn't make sense. Sorry.
No, I had a problem with the princess. My goodness, she's a pretty girl, but I could not stand her character.
Even at the end, I could have cared less if she survived.
I don't understand the drive of that character.
Terrible character.
Her girlfriend, I cannot remember, her bodyguard / girlfriend. Yeah. She was okay. None of the kid you like was annoying. No.
I liked him. I think he played what he was supposed to play in that role.
That same character everywhere, with the exception of Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's yeah.
But I did like Boorman. Boorman actually fits into this world of. I can believe him and Mad Mardigan actually going on adventures.
Yeah, and maybe
even Christian Slater. I was like, I don't think you would have been hanging out with Mad Mardigan like at all. What's happening here? The original film's dialogue wasn't the greatest. Speech didn't feel medieval. No, it didn't. But it definitely had a feel that wasn't of that 1988 era.
Yeah, it didn't have 1980.
We weren't using terms that they were using. Oh, yeah. Dude, when the trolls talk, I remember that was another time I'm like, I'm done. I can't, like, what? Like, we've established already the trolls are unspeakable, like, creatures that just don't, like, and all out of nowhere, these two white trolls, because you remember the trolls were like black fur in the original movie. The only thing that excited me about the last episode was the final shot of what's his name, I guess, and the worm, like, and you see the two-headed dragon and the army
dragon creature,
building in the back.
That was cool. Yeah, and honestly, I felt like if Sorsha and Mad Mardigan didn't have kids, I would have been okay with that. And
we do our comic book / movie TV show reviews every Wednesday at 8 or 9 p.m. depending on what time we and then I do a Saturday stream every Saturday at 11 a.m.
Yes.
Jade, which one was Jade?
Jade was the one you're talking about, the one from Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, she was okay. But
Yeah.
Boorman actually fits into this world. Maybe I'm just getting older and I can't stand kids.
I
Like
don't think
I don't know
that's
what it is. Maybe I'm getting
I
older
don't
and I
think
just can't
that's
stand the
it,
kids.
but I do think that it does suffer from, well, too many characters, first of all. They really could have, like, Willow only had, if you think about major characters, it was Mad Mardigan, Willow, Sorsha shows up, Bavmorda,
That's not
obviously, and
what I said, Josh. Black fur, okay, the black fur. So many shows recently that have fallen under the who is this for column. You know,
like
dude, I
Bella.
actually agree with that because I was just watching. I feel kind of like Megan was like that. I was like, Megan, who's this for? But apparently, I mean, it's for the TikTok generation with the
Yeah,
dance trends,
yeah,
trendings, and
I think it's gonna make a lot of money.
yeah. So I get it. So there's definitely people watching these things. I don't know about Willow. There were people enough watching Lock and Key to continue it, but I felt that way about Midnight Club. Midnight Club, which is the next Mike Holligan show that got canceled because it felt like the language is too strong for people that I think are the age group that should be watching this. So I don't know. This one, yeah, definitely. Even nostalgia goggles, I was trying to have fun with it, and things kept taking me out of it, like the music or the dialogue or some of the wardrobe choices or some of the annoying characters. And not that I fell in love with every character in the original movie.
No, but there was something about the whole premise, right? And I think that's what this was really missing. I mean, Willow, the character itself, he was, he was an underdog you wanted to root for. And then Mad Mardigan, Val Kilmer played him so well, right? As that rasky or little
The
rascal
greatest
guy.
swordsman that's ever lived. Yeah, he had some catchy lines.
And we just didn't really have that in this night. And I think part of it is, like I said,
we kind of got that in Boorman, but they
they
didn't
wanted him to be that.
Yeah, but they didn't really focus on the character that much. They focused on all the other kids and things like that.
And too much of the Mad Mardigan hung over his head and a lot of the whole show. And I get Val Kilmer can't be in the show, but to have this like Mad Mardigan lurking, like in every episode, it's like, where is he gone? What's happening? Well, obviously, what are you guys going to do? Because you can't bring him back. I mean, when they had his voice, they actually used his son to dub in some of the voice.
Oh, was it his son? I was wondering how they did. I thought they took like different movies and TV shows he was in and kind of put it together. But the fact that it was his son, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, what are they going to do going forward? So it's.
I mean, you can Obi-Wan Kenobi ghost put him into the movie.
You can.
Or show.
I mean, it's like, it's the Mad Mardigan of it all, just hung over it. And we could have told a new story with Willow without bringing, that aspect into it. I say just get rid of half the characters.
Dude, you know what it reminds me?
Died.
I'm going to show my age, but you know what this reminds me of? And I don't care. I don't think anybody knows. Maybe a couple people in their 40s here, 50s. There was a show called The Streets of San Francisco. It was a detective show, couple cops. It's where Michael Douglas first got his acting chops. Michael Douglas. Of course, it was because of his dad, Kirk Douglas. But anyway, in 1980, probably 89, 1990, there was a made-for-TV movie called Return to the Streets of San Francisco. And it had the original cast back without Michael Douglas. And the whole thing was like Michael Douglas's character went missing. Then you find out at the very end he was killed off screen because they couldn't get the actor back. And they were like, well, that sucks. He died and he was murdered by this bad guy that we brought back from one random episode. I feel like that's where this show's going to go with Mad Mardigan. It's like, oh, he's out there somewhere. And then they're going to be like, oh, man, you just missed him. He just died.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Because they can't get Val Kilmer back. So it's like they're riding on the coattails of Mad Mardigan and knowing, what we know about the actor, more than likely he's probably not going to come back and reprise the role of Mad Mardigan.
Yeah. And Griffin X said that he did sign over something to use the AI technology to use his voice so we could see him in season 2.
Right. But how would that even work? Like what kind of character would he even be?
I mean, it can't be a main character. It would be like a cameo of some kind. But regardless, I mean, I really wish they would have focused more solely on just Elora Danon's journey. and not all side characters and all of their stuff. And I get it. It's a TV show, but there's so many characters and they all have some issue. Maybe I am getting old.
No, you're not.
I
wasn't the biggest fan of Rings of Power, but at least that had that production value of holy crap, this is a TV show, not a movie going for it.
At least they were consistent with what the tone of it was going to be.
And while the dialogue was not good, and it was not good,
were consistent.
But it was consistent with that world that, even though it was millions of years away, and the wardrobe at least was great in that. Like but this we got.
That is like the worst shot that you could have like screenshot image on that poor woman.
It's the only one that I took a shot of, and I was like, what were they thinking?
That is like the worst shot of her. She's like,
wait a minute, Night Court's coming back?
It is coming back. Yeah, I just saw something. I mean,
Harry passed away. I cannot remember. Actually, a couple of actors have passed away. Who's still alive from Night Court besides Bull?
All great questions.
Oh, wait. Hell yeah, Night Court has the first 2 episodes. Wait, what's happening? Are you guys serious? Can we please bring back the Facts of Life? Because I grew up with that shit too. Can we get that one back?
I really want them to keep. Okay.
I want them to keep breaking my heart, Amanda. Hell yes.
Yes, break your heart.
I that's all these shows of TV or movies have done for a while. I won't be surprised if the 10th Kingdom gets a revival. I remember my brother and I were the only 2 people that I knew that actually watched that. Hell yeah, dude, Kim, man, she still got it going on, dude. Yeah, they're remaking Roadhouse, but whatever. Like that's not one that's near and dear to me, so although Chris Latta was in that and he is the voice of Starscream, that is one of the few live action roles that he was in. What would you give anybody watch Willow, by the way?
If you have watched Willow.
They can't bring Cheers back without Kirstie Alley. Like
she's passed on, and that's just not gonna happen.
Anybody that's watched Willow season 1, what would you give it out of 10? Amanda.
I give it a 5 out of 10. I was disappointed.
5 out of 10. I think it was nice to see Warwick Davis back. It was nice to see him in the role as Willow. It was nice to see what's her name back? Val Kilmer's ex-wife. I cannot remember her name. Man, yeah, maybe a 5. 5 out of 10 is a pretty fair rating. I mean, there were some enjoyable things I liked about it, but most of it was just drowned by the bad. I think 5 out of 10 is pretty.
Also, can we stop when an older character returns? He's now this curmudgeon-y, like old dude kind of thing. Like he's just like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Daniel's son is still Daniel's son. He ain't learned his
damn lesson. I know, but like they did it with like Luke Skywalker being all curmudgeon-y, and even like, Warwick Davis in this. Willow's just downtrodden. He's not the Willow.
Something bad happened we haven't seen yet.
I understand, but we could still, for once, maybe give us someone. Maybe he can cut a little bit of a jib here and there. I don't know. Just bring some joy back.
Odd redhead. That was Val Kilmer's ex-wife. I cannot remember her name. Sasha? No, oh my gosh.
Portia is the
let's see. 6 out of 10. Willow. I love Willow, but it was a 3 for me. A 3 out of 10. Willow's a solid 7. 5 seems high after this streak. I try to point out some of the good things because I did like some of the parts of episode 1. It gave me some hope. 6 out of 10. That said, I did enjoy myself, and that's all that matters in the end. Even Mark Hamill said Luke would not. Let's not, dude. Unless, and I get it. Last Jedi has a huge fan following, and I like what's his face, the guy that directed it, Rian Johnson. Mm-hmm. I was a big fan of Looper, so I was excited for his take on Star Wars. I remember walking out of the theater going, I don't know if that was one of the best or one of the worst Star Wars movies I've ever seen. I was so confused. Well, yeah, that's it. Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up tonight? And what are we doing next week?
Yeah, that's a good question on next week.
I hate reading this man's name, but I do love this dude. He's been with us for a long time. I'm late to the party. Just want to say, Last of Us was 8 out of 10. would be 9 if they had a couple more zombies in the episode. Okay. I thought you were rating Willow at 8 out of 10, but more power to you.
Like, whoa.
People love Last of Us, man. People love it. I did hear the bad news, but I get it and I respect it. Heard Mark Hamill won't be playing the Joker anymore due to Kevin Conroy's passing. I understand that. Absolutely, yeah. Without Kevin Conroy being his Batman, it just doesn't make sense. I get it.
Agreed.
Is there any other news? What's come out? We got some not leaks, but photos from.
No, yeah, they did. So, 2 weeks ago, we did our what we're excited for in 2023. And at the time, I said I was excited for Ted Lasso season 3, even though we didn't have a release date, didn't know when it was coming out. But they did finally tease season 3. Right now, they're saying spring of this year. And here's our first look. Oh, God, I know it's not Rupert Giles.
Yeah, Willow?
What?
I thought it was Willow for a second.
No. So you see Nick and Ted facing off here. And, of course, Anthony Stewart Head's character in the background, who pretty much hired Nick at the end of last season to run the team he purchased to rival their team. So looking forward to that coming out in the spring. And I'll definitely want to talk about that a lot when it comes out, as long as it's good. Hopefully it will be. It's supposed to be like their series, like Ender.
Mandalorian. When's that come back?
That's coming out back soon because I think we've seen some first look posters as well.
Oh, the trailer dropped. It just came out yesterday. I didn't watch the trailer.
So very excited for the Mandalorian. More Pedro Pascal. Boy, he's gonna have a busy year, isn't he?
Well, he can phone that one in.
Yeah, that's true. He probably was phoning in while he was doing The Last of Us.
I love Luther. I thought Luther was excellent, so I'm excited. They're making a movie of Luther, right?
They're making a movie. Right? Really excited for that to come out. That's going to be really cool.
I was a fan of Idris Elba on The Wire, so I had no idea he was British until I watched Luther, and I'm like, holy crap, that wasn't his real. He not only did an American accent, but he did a Baltimore accent. That was amazing.
Omar and I got to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish this weekend.
Yes,
and it had no right to be as good as it was. For Shrek franchise film. It was actually very enjoyable. I recommend people going to see that film. I loved the animation. It was different than what I'm used to seeing from a Shrek film. It had a bit of a hand-drawn quality to it. I also liked the story. It was well written. And yeah, the action was great in it. Really enjoyed it. Was not expecting that. So, yeah,
I agree.
I'll for sure. Josh, Puss in Boots, definitely. I'll watch that again over Willow. That's for sure.
Puss in Boots, I'd probably give a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I thought it just. First of all, you're talking about a sequel to a movie that came out 11 years ago that was a spin-off of a series that people long forgot. I don't know if there's a Shrek TV show anymore or not, but I think Shrek kind of died after, at least for me, after the third movie. I did not like that third movie, and apparently there was a fourth movie with Rumpelstiltskin, which is
my daughter loves.
My daughter's favorite, but we can have that conversation another time. Take care, Hobgoblin, and come back anytime, brother. Yes, the Baltimore accents on The Wire wasn't authentic. Besides Snoop, not stupid, but damn it, what was his name? Michael B. Jordan's friend. Don't want to spoil what happens to him, but you know. But that wasn't fair with Snoop though, because she was actually from Baltimore though. Now I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, so Puss in Boots I thought it delivered something I didn't think I needed. I thought it was great. Love the animation. I could see why people might think it's choppy animation, but it worked just because it looks so. It looked fluid to me. I love the artistic choice that they went with. The villain was creepy, like genuinely creepy. My daughter, who doesn't really like movies that much, she's like her mother. My youngest daughter, not my oldest, loved it. Like she thought it was good. Like she wanted to come home and watch it, and I'm like, oh yeah, well,
but we can't yet.
We're streaming, but when it comes to the streaming, I would love it.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely one I'll probably be purchasing because Lyndon enjoyed it as well. But yeah, everyone, we recommend seeing it. But what are we going to do next week? So nothing big is coming out movie-wise. I don't know. Are there any TV premieres happening? Because we could do a Last of Us episode 2 review, or we could do, was it really that bad? Or
I usually text you when things
I know you do.
Out.
I know. Yeah, I definitely dropped the ball on that one.
But what we can do another Was It Really That Bad? Or we can do a first view review. That was a lot of fun. People have a lot of fun with those.
Yeah. And there's still so many things I haven't seen, and also really, really bad movies that we need to watch and review.
Do we need to?
Yes.
That 90s show, dude. I didn't grow up with that 70s show. That was after I was. Oh my gosh, I think I was in college when that was premiering. So I never got a chance to really
grew up with it, but it wasn't my thing. So
it wasn't your thing.
No,
I mean, I knew that's where Topher Grace and what's his name?
Ashton Kutcher,
Ashton Kutcher, that guy, and Mila Kunis.
Yep.
And
it had
Donna was one of the characters' names. I remember that.
Yes.
Will you guys see Operation Fortune, guys? Richie's new film. I will go watch previews of it. Primal season 2. I need to finish season 1 first, Josh.
Oh, I need to just watch Primal in general. I always see it, but I never,
Dude, he said Meteor Man. I was watching, this is crazy, but I was watching Mo Money. I know nobody cares about that movie, but it's Damon Wayans. He wrote it. It was like his first acting thing. He brought on, I can't remember which one of his brothers was in it, but I thought of these movies that he was in the night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about Blank Man. You remember Blank Man?
No.
Oh my gosh. Blank Man was awful. Meteor Man versus Shaq. That's what we should do. The Steel movie. Both of them are comic book properties.
That wouldn't be
Marlon Wayans. Yeah, that's who it was. Oh, and it had Stacey Dash. Like I think in her first big acting role too.
Before Clueless.
Before Clueless, and there was somebody else in there. Yeah, it was before Clueless. There was somebody else in there that I noticed. I'm like, man, that's a young so and so. I can't remember who it was. How about a show on why Omar should watch Abbott Elementary? I'm gonna watch it, man. I'm gonna watch it. It's on HBO, apparently.
It is, at least the first season is. And the Oscars will be announcing the Academy Awards this week, I believe. So be prepared. We'll probably talk about that. It looks like Angela Bassett will be.
Do you think that she's gonna be nominated for? That's huge.
She's been nominated, has won so far. Not just the Golden Globes, but she won Best Actress. Best Supporting Actress for a film in the Critics' Choice Awards as well. I believe she was nominated for the SAGs. I think that she's gonna take it home, and that would be a huge. I mean, obviously Heath Ledger won for the Joker and stuff like that, but it would be a big deal for her to take home a Academy Award trophy. So obviously. I'm really interested to see if Brendan Fraser is nominated and where Everything Everywhere All at Once lands. So we'll definitely, as that nears, and Omar and I like to do our little Academy Awards.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Amanda has a party. We do it every year, and she really does throw a really fun Oscar party for people that don't even care about the Oscars, like my wife.
Now it doesn't take us that long to get home, so can stay until we watch.
Last year, I mean, we can't relive the madness that was last year, right?
Oh, I know.
When I was like, did he just smack him? Did he just smack him?
Yeah, we
got and then I'm in a group. I was in a Facebook group with folks from Australia that were like, "Y'all see this?" And they had the unedited version of Will Smith smacking him and cursing. I was like, "What?" Airplane. Are you a fan of the Stucker Brothers? Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
We talked about how I haven't seen it yet.
Airplane. They did Kentucky Fried Movie, Naked Gun, Police Squad.
Oh, you asked me. Those are not my. Was not my.
You haven't seen any of it. What? Okay, there's one that you might have seen that they did that I wasn't the biggest fan of, but it was still their type of comedy. Scary Movie 3.
Oh, they just did that when they do all the scary
movies? They
did
Scary Movie 3 and 4, I think. No, they didn't do 1 and 2 because that was the Wayans brothers, right? Like,
okay, well, I've seen those, but after that, I was like, I can't stand because then all those stupid remakes. There was one about fantasy movies and one rom-com. It was not another teen movie. Then I was like, oh, good.
Not another teen movie.
Evans. Yeah, but I know because I was talking about Demolition Man is something I've never seen too that I would like to watch at one point. If anyone here is a Demolition Man.
Demolition Man is dude, I'll watch Demolition
Man. Mainly because I didn't realize that Sandra Bullock and Benjamin Bratt were both in it, and I was like, wow, this is before Miss Congeniality. Yay! How exciting!
Oh my god, yeah, dude, I quote Naked. I quote Airplane more, but I love the Naked Gun. Naked Gun 2.5 gets a lot of quotes from me. I was trying to find out if Angela Bassett had won an Oscar. Like how Stella got a groove back to not win, or was she nominated?
I don't think she's ever won an Oscar.
Let's see, she was nominated a lot.
Yeah, but she's never
she's won 2 Golden Globes. What's Love Got to Do with It? And Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But Academy
she was only ever nominated for What's Love Got to Do with It. She was nominated in 1993.
Which was when she won the Golden Globe.
Yeah, but she did not win. I wonder who won that year.
Love, Naked Gun, and Dracula Dead and Loving It. Yeah, Dracula. Wait, Dracula Dead and Loving It was Mel Brooks' last film, which they're doing a History of the World Part 2. I have no idea how, considering Mel Brooks is done. I mean, and his humor, his type of humor just does. There's no way it works in the society we live in.
No, not, yeah.
So how do you use the 3? I texted Amanda the same thing because she ain't ever watched it, but she made me watch this. What was it?
The Honest Trailer.
Honest Trailer.
Demolition Man, and that last 3 minutes about the 3 seashells is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and I remember Demolition Man being the movie that made me realize, Sylvester Stallone takes steroids because he got in trouble.
So weird way to find that out.
That scene, that iconic scene where he's coming out of the freezer.
Yes.
I think you saw it in the Honest Trailers. Like he pulled a muscle just flexing for that scene, and they tested him, and like he tested positive for steroids. So I was like, I thought he just naturally worked out. Psycho Cleveland, what's up?
Hey, Psycho Cleveland.
But dude, I don't care if it works. I was Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. That was one that I wanted to watch with you. Maybe my birthday month we'll watch the movies that I like, and then
that sounds good.
And in December we'll watch movies.
Oh, December's so hard because things come out that we need to watch though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this December, I'm sure will be no exception. But yeah, so we will probably post something on our YouTube channel, like a poll like we did last week for either a couple options for Was It Really That Bad or First Time View Review. Maybe we'll switch it up since we did a First Time View Review last week. Next week, we'll do a Was It Really That Bad? Because I love talking about bad movies. Though, to be fair,
although sometimes I don't know, there's a couple hidden gems in bad movies, or you might end up enjoying something that other people hate, right?
Exactly. You never know.
Godfather 1 and 2. Yeah. Was it really that bad? Those are good. When does the Coca-Cola Bear come out? That's February, I think.
Yeah. Rest of this month, there's nothing major releasing in theaters. It's going to be but then of course, February, we do have Ant-Man. So that will be something that we'll be reviewing. Probably not on Wednesday. It'll be we'll go see it.
We'll probably have to do it on a weekend. So just keep an eye on that. Yes. Anything else, Amanda?
Nope. That's everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at Near Mint Con. Remember, check us out on Spreadshop for some great near mint condition merchandise. And also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us in all that we do here on this channel. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Good journey, everyone. We will see you all next week. Have a good evening.
Bye, everybody. I got it this time. I got it.
Are you sure?
I got it this time.